So check this out, right? So I literally got to see another really great sequel from Disney. I am very impressed with the fact that Disney has finally seemed to get a grip on how to do a sequel to a really good film. And that started with Inside Out, in my opinion, because, like, I like Incredibles 2, but Inside Out 2 is clearly their best 2. And that's just solely because they don't have a high bar in that regard. And like Toy Story 2 is a really good sequel, but it's not better than Toy Story 1. And that's kind of the issue with Incredibles 2. That's not the issue with Inside Out, because I do think Inside Out 2 is just as good as the first. And I feel exactly the same way about Zootopia 2. I think it is a very, really, really good sequel. And I think it is just as enjoyable, just as funny, just as out there, just as mature as the first one. And in some regards, I think it matured a little more with the audience. I mean, it's been 9 years. People who were like 9 when the first one came out are 18. Ain't that crazy? So like Zootopia 2 aged with the audience, and that's what I've been thinking. Like maybe that's why the Disney sequels have gotten better, because they've aged with the audience. Inside Out 2 was very mature for a Pixar sequel, and as plotless or as like however people want to explain Moana 2, it was more mature than the first one, because that was also like damn near 9 or 10 years after the first one. So it's nice to see that Disney finally got a grip on the sequels. Now I will say Zootopia 2 starts off really well. Starts off like a week after the events of the first one, and Nick and Judy are partners. They're trying to figure stuff out. Judy's used to being in control of everything and trying to overachieve and exceed, whereas Nick has always been kind of like avoidant and not really trying to be in that kind of a environment or light because he has a traumatic childhood, as we see from the first one. They have personality clashes and things like that. Very realistic friendship personality clashes where they don't hate each other. There's just a misunderstanding. I loved the pacing of Zootopia 2. I thought the humor was great. The story was incredible. And it's something that you don't pay attention to, and I don't want to spoil it, but there is a key detail that's mentioned in this that you don't pay attention to in the first one. And it's funny, you really have to watch the first one again after seeing the second one and being like, oh, shoot, that's really not the case. And I love this whole idea of like, yo, Zootopia isn't what you think it is right now because of XYZ. And I'm not going to say that the snakes were supposed to represent a certain community, but it gave off that feeling. As a black dude, I felt that. I was like, yo, I feel what this is, bro. And it is so like relatable for the what happens to a certain community in the film. But I think the crazy part is like the main snake that we see in the marketing is voiced by Kehi Kwan. Man, that dude just showed up and got an Oscar and has been everywhere ever since. Then you have this family that I don't want to talk about too much, but like a pretty surprisingly interesting way to do like some villain stuff. And the villains were just the villains, they were just evil scumbags. And that's wonderful. I haven't had villains like that. I miss villains like that where they're just evil. I don't really care how why. They just are. Um, Jason Bateman obviously does a great job. Again, I never remember the girl who voices Judy, but she does a great job as well. The voice cast in general, the animation is straight perfect, straight 10 out of 10. There's some sequences that can be a little intense too. That's the crazy thing. And they do it well, and you love Nick and Judy, so them being involved in some of this stuff, you're like, wow, this is actually kind of intense. But it's so well done. It's just you actually just sit in Zootopia 2, you get lost in the world, you get lost in the visuals, you get lost in everything, but it's all worth it. It's all a payoff. I enjoyed the fact that the story was able to give us another detective thing and it actually come together and it actually makes sense. And it actually feels like a solid way to set up Nick and Judy's relationship going forward. Now, I was a little thrown off because I was kind of like, they're not trying to set a romance between the two of them, are they? Just a certain sequence that takes place. But that didn't seem to be the case. which was good because I was like, how are you gonna explain how a bunny and a fox are together? I mean, it's not impossible, but like, bruh, come on, I don't need this. I don't need this for the film. Not saying romance is bad, no, but this is a romance I don't think works. I think they are just the best group of friends they could have, and their relationship is expanded on and it is stretched and it is worked. But they have a very great scene at the end that I think so many people can relate to, especially people who have a friendship like that or aren't used to having a friendship like that. And it was just such a relieving moment for me because I was like, man, I wish I was able to do this when I was younger with people so people could understand me more. And I still struggle with that type of thing as well. And it's just it's so relatable, even as an adult. As an adult, Zootopia 2 is very relatable. So many great things about the movie. I can't think of anything bad I can say about this movie. That's the crazy thing. Like things that kind of happened earlier come back later in a funny way, but it's done well. Like they just did a really good job with the sequel. It's emotional, it's heartfelt. You get, and it's not even like super emotional, but the moments that you're supposed to feel for, you feel for these moments. You do, and that's the best part. In Zootopia, I will say they don't really explore Zootopia as much as they did in the first one. Like, in the first one, there was different sections that they were in for different parts of the detective story. But this one seemed to focus specifically on one specific area, and that is very important. So I would say, all in all, I definitely think Zootopia 2 is as good as the first one. Definitely as enjoyable, just as fun, just as like just out there, so creative. I was like, they managed to make this creative. Now, what I will say is, I don't know how many times they can pull the whole Zootopia isn't what you think it is type of thing. Like, I mean, it worked this time because in the first one, that really wasn't the main case. It was more so the idea of what was going on. But then when it came to the second one, it pulled that thing where it's like Zootopia isn't what you think it is. There's some stuff that just needs to get rectified. And I do agree how great they did it. But I don't think if there, because there's going to be a three. There's definitely going to be a three. This movie has made 1.2 billion at the box office and it made like 500 something million opening weekend. So there's definitely going to be a three. I just hope three finds its way to being different from one and two, just how two is different from one. So I'm hoping three can be different from two. And they should definitely take their time putting it together. And, just it's just I definitely recommend Zootopia 2. I think everyone who loves the first one should see it. And it annoys me that people in America aren't really going to see it in theaters because it's worth the money. It's worth the watch. So, that's just my personal opinion on it. I definitely think people should go see Zootopia 2. And if you can't, if it hits Disney Plus, watch it immediately. It is so worth it. It's a really good sequel. And with that being said, I'm going to log off. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe for more. I'll see y'all on the next one.